Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fintech Combine. I am your host, Kris Kovacs, and this is the series where we talk with and sometimes about community-based institutions, their digital and business transformation projects, and we meet the innovators, entrepreneurs, and fintechs that make it all possible. On this episode, we're going to speak to Simon Carmichael, the founder and CEO of MasRefund, about his exciting new fintech, which is providing tax services to Spanish-speaking consumers. So if you're ready, let's suit up and get out on the field. Simon, I'm excited to share your story and the story of MasRefund with our viewers. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and how did you get inspired to start MasRefund?
Yeah, that question is very easy. The answer is pretty long. A lot of my friends say I've led like a Forrest Gump lifestyle. I just happened to be at the right place at the right time, and it's been a remarkable journey. So I was in the U.S. Army as a linguist and learned, added on 2 more languages. So now I speak 6 languages. And then I started a drug and alcohol rehab center. Coming out of the Army, I saw many, many people suffering, and there really wasn't a solution back then. So we're talking in the 1990s. And I launched a drug and alcohol rehab center, grew that by adding other levels of care from subacute detox all the way to transitional living. And one of my goals was to carry the message that mental health, addiction are treatable diseases. Mm-hmm. And we would bring in one veteran who wanted that transformative change per quarter, and all expenses were covered. And eventually, I exited from that, sold that business at 10x, and I discovered a new pain point. That when a loved one would be dropped off at our facility, they would get therapy, they would get psychiatric care, and then the clinical team would ask the parents, the brothers, the siblings to say, you all need to go into therapy as well because addiction and mental health issues affects each person differently. And after 30 days, 60 days, they're like, yeah, we didn't have time. We didn't like the therapist. And so I launched an app called Help Me Now. It was on-demand mental health. Very, very early on. And I went to my first investor pitch to an IPA, an Independent Physicians Association. They loved the app and just made me an offer that I couldn't refuse. And so after that, I was asked to participate and launch a medical TV talk show called White Coats. It's still going on at a studio out of Fountain Valley, California. And that was in Arabic. And each month we would have a campaign focusing on specific illnesses and diseases. And coincidentally enough, we started off with mental health and addiction. And eventually I moved behind the camera when one person asked, how come Dr. Simon doesn't respond to our questions in Arabic? And I had an earpiece. They were translating for me. And I said, because I don't speak Arabic. And so we kind of knew that would happen. Along that side, I had a chance to collaborate on a book on diversity and inclusion. And that did really, really well. It's an academic book. And that led to working at Google. Their cloud platform was taking some hits on their D&I, diversity and inclusion program. And then I technically retired. Left our home in Irvine, California, moved to a small town called Prosper, Texas in North Dallas. And 21 days into my retirement, my wife sat me down on a Thursday morning, 7 a.m., no coffee, and put her hands together and said, please, you got to leave the house. And I had no idea what she was talking about. And she said, no, I don't want you to move out. I want you to go find something to do. I don't care what you do, but you can't be here 24/7. And that's on my newsfeed was a H&R Block income tax course. I took that course and I passed the internal exam. And then that's when I submitted my CV and they're like, wow, you've worked at all these places. We want you in management. And I said, I just want to do taxes. And they basically said, you can do taxes, but we really, really need you in a leadership role. So our team had all of Texas. And so as I'm driving into different offices, I'm hearing and I'm experiencing the person answering the phone or the receptionist at the front desk saying, no habla español, no habla español, no habla español. And I could see the fear and anxiety. And that's when I started doing research. And I talked to my dad because he's an immigrant.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, what was it like? And my mom and my older brother, much older than I am, they chimed in and said, oh, yeah, it was horrible being around him. From April 15th till October 15th, we couldn't get the mail. Only he got the mail because he was convinced that a simple mistake could lead to deportation. Mm-hmm. And so I looked at this like a doctoral paper, really. Mm-hmm. And I saw that this phenomena, whether a person comes from Ireland, Germany, Canada, South America, Middle East, that fear of making a mistake and then leading to deportation was prevalent across all walks of life. Mm-hmm. But the cool thing also on the other side of that was when they did file their taxes, they had this incredible feeling of, now I'm a part of the fabric of American life. I have filed my taxes. It wasn't when they get the resident alien card or they get the, take the oath to become naturalized citizens. It was filing taxes. That was pretty cool. And so I'm doing research and I'm preparing taxes and I'm seeing mom and dads bring in their college age kids and they absolutely hated sitting across the desk from me. And, I would ask them, would you rather sit in front of me here having your taxes done or a dentist's office? And invariably they said the dentist's office. And I said, seriously, you would rather have a tooth extraction than get your taxes done? And they're like, yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. Because if I'm at the dentist, I'm getting numbed and I'm feeling good. Here, I don't have that option. Mm-hmm. And so I started doing more research about what's out there right now. What products are there? How is the Hispanic community supported? What are the needs of Gen Zs who are growing up on smartphones? They don't even have laptops. And then when I discovered that 82% of the Hispanic households don't even have access to broadband or PCs, that's when things started coming together. I'm going, I got to build a purpose-built financial app, an app that makes tax filing really easy. And then during the pandemic, I took some coding classes and just tested out this idea that I had, because our tax code is very much if-then statements, like it's a decision tree. And then I found out that, oh my God, this thing works. And then so I left H&R Block and started doing more research. And I saw young kids depositing their checks using their banking app. And I'm like, all right, I can combine that with the decision tree, add some AI to it. And then as our customers come back, we'll start gathering data and we'll be able to help a whole bunch of people that are currently not filing because of fear. And eventually that catches up with them. And that leads to back taxes, late penalties, and up to even incarceration, right?
I was going to say that it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about the technology that MasRefund uses to really make it easier for people to file their taxes.
Yeah, so they download the app from the Google or Apple Play Store, single sign on using their Google account or Apple ID, and now they have an account with us. And then the flow is so easy that our tagline is, we make tax filing as easy as uno, dos, tres. And really it is that simple. So uno is you sign up, dos, you just take a picture of your W-2, answer a couple of questions, and we give you the outcome. If you like the outcome, then you take a picture of your driver's license, enter your social security number, because most people don't have their card on their person. Mm-hmm. And then take a picture of your debit card. A single filer can pay as little as $24.99, and then hit submit, and then the taxes are filed. And so we're using, OCR technology, just like banking apps use when you take a picture of your check, the front and back, very similar processes. And then our secret sauce is based on how a customer answers those questions. We do the heavy lifting. So the customer doesn't need to even figure out, do they need a Schedule 1? Do they need a Schedule B? How do I take information from this form onto this form? All of that is done using our technology.
And as I understand it from the conversations you and I have had, there are states where if you file your federal taxes, there are no state income taxes to file. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. In fact, when I was bootstrapping this thing and self-funding it, I I was trying to figure out a way, how can I bring this to market and try to see if there's a product market fit. I know that it's almost like addiction, right? So I would walk into hospitals and the ER staff would call me and I would talk to the person who was overdosed and I said, okay, what do you want to do? Everyone needed to go into treatment, but only those that wanted that transformation actually made it into treatment. So I knew that people needed this app and this technology, but how many really wanted it? And so I was looking at what's the easiest way. And then since this was going to be and is bilingual, English and Spanish, you know, I discovered that states like Texas, Florida, Nevada, Washington, they don't have state income tax filing requirements. So I only needed to develop one type of code for federal filing. And so that is kind of in my go-to-market strategy.
That's great. That's a great way and a good lesson to other entrepreneurs, right? Identify, how do I get to that first step and what are the minimum requirements for me to be able to get there?
Exactly.
But you're continuing to grow the features and functions that it performs. I mean, we're headed toward a new tax year, right?
Yes, we're headed towards a new tax year. So in 2023, this app was a minimum viable product launched in, like I said, Florida, Texas, Nevada, just for single filers.
Mm-hmm.
And so got a lot of feedback. And so we added more features. And then so in this past tax season, we were able to serve those who are married filing jointly. And then the other feedback we got is everyone is brainwashed into thinking filing taxes is so difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And here we're revolutionizing it and we're saying, no, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. So there's like, okay, what if we get a letter from the IRS? How are you going to support us? So then we launched another financial product called MasComfort. So if they do get a letter from the IRS, they can upload it. And we have in-language chat support. We have tax professionals on our staff, and we can take a look and talk to the IRS and figure out what's going on. And then this tax season, we received feedback that, hey, look, Simon, we get it that the product is continuing to mature and offer other features so more complex returns can be done. Mm-hmm. But right now, it would be so beneficial if you could just offer us an opportunity with the app to file extensions. And then we'll go to our CPA after April 15th and stuff like that. But there's got to be a pain-free or painless way, frictionless way to file an extension. So we're going to be launching Form 4686 nationally. Mm-hmm. And so people can, for $9.99, can file their extension. And stay out of IRS's radar for failure to file on time penalty.
Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of credit unions in some of the states that you've mentioned. There's a lot of credit unions who watch this and who are viewers of the FinTech Combine. What do you think the role of a credit union could be in helping you reach this audience?
Yeah, that's a great question. When I was, even up to like a couple of weeks ago, I would say, or a couple of months ago, credit unions weren't even on my radar. And they just seemed like such a forgotten financial institution that creating an alliance with a very cutting edge technology is going to leapfrog the credit union. And it's going to offer them specialized technology with expertise, and that's going to increase their member acquisition for existing members. It's a fantastic, deliberate touch point that they can have. And so FinTech partnerships align with many of the credit union's goals for strategic growth and expanding their member-centric mission is something that aligns itself with offering a product like MasRefund.
Mm-hmm. I would imagine too, as credit unions are trying to, attract new members, they're trying to build their membership bases. This is a way of reaching out and building trust to a community that they may have taken for granted.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 68% of the people who are filing right now are going to something like a same-day check cashing place. and they're paying anywhere from 18 to 86% interest on refund anticipation loans.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, credit unions can tremendously benefit by getting that refund advance directly into their account.
Yeah, so they get the benefit of having the deposits, right? But then
Absolutely.
I could see where if you offered it to members members of your community for them to bring their business to the credit union, right? That would be a neat way of attracting and adding new members.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, for existing members, it's a great way to deepen that relationship of how we're
mhm,
looking out for you by offering this product. And definitely, it's a great way to attract new members. You know, there's 13 million Hispanic households that are unbanked, and I think reaching out to those via the credit union is going to be a great way for the overall
yeah.
ecosystem and bringing them into the fold, as opposed to being in that cash-based system right now.
Hmm.
And I think it's going to be wonderful for credit unions to get those added deposits.
Hmm. For sure. One thing that's in the back of my mind, what type of technical hurdle did you have to jump over in order to actually integrate to the IRS? Right? Like people are so afraid of the IRS just filling out a form. I can't imagine what the process of actually integrating with them to securely deliver that data to them. What does that look like for those of us who don't know?
Yeah, that's a great question. Because we're dealing with PII, the challenges of the requirements that the IRS has for ensuring that the consumer data is secured, it's impenetrable. And so for us, it was obvious that we partner up with AWS
Hmm.
for a couple of reasons. One is that, there's peaks within the tax season. There's typically a peak right after the IRS says we're accepting tax returns. So that happens very early on in the tax season. And there's another peak that happens between April 1st and April 15th. So um, we wanted a strategic partner that has those elastomeric properties that they can handle the quick spikes and then the come downs.
Hmm.
And then really more importantly, we wanted to use serverless technology, right? So when you deposit a check, for example, there is no image of the check on your phone, right? So we're
Hmm.
using that same technology where the customer's PII is with a SOC 2 certified technology giant like
Hmm.
AWS.
That's right. That's right. Is there a right time for someone to reach out to you? Like I would imagine like the 15th of January, maybe too late. Right? Like
Yeah,
that's to your point, that's when the spike begins, right? So
yeah.
is now the right time for an institution to reach out to you to talk about how you can partner together and help those potential members?
Oh, absolutely. This is the right time because we are now, 10/21. So we're really 90 days out from the tax season starting. So we can set in place and I can do the demos and we can show the credit union exactly what the flow is and how they would receive refunds into their members' accounts. So all of this takes a little bit of time, right?
Hmm.
Implementation takes time in terms of our co-branded marketing strategy and how we're going to put that together. And being that we are a startup, right? And a little bit in the earlier stage, post revenue, but certainly early and small
Hmm.
enough to be very agile. And so we can quickly meet the needs of respective credit unions if one is in Florida and their needs are different than another one in Texas, for example, or
Hmm.
the one in Nevada. And we can
Right.
quickly, flex to meet those needs.
Right. So I want to change gears a little bit because you've got a history of seeing a problem, solving a problem, kind of from an entrepreneurial perspective, and being able to do that. Um, what's your philosophy when it comes to taking the chance to build a solution or taking the opportunity to solve a problem that you haven't seen solved before? Is there a philosophy that goes along with that? Maybe it's a point of view. What encourages you to get up in the morning and solve problems that are like as difficult as some of these can be?
Yeah, I mean, what a wonderful question. I like to build organizations where purpose meets profit.
Mhm.
So there's an incredible opportunity to make tons of money with this app, and then the subsequent, products that we could launch in our product roadmap. But there's also great opportunity to help underserved communities. With inflation and everything around it right now, money is very tight. So why not create a solution that's affordable and democratize access to the latest and greatest technology? And so that's kind of always been my focus. So when I wake up in the morning, my legacy, I guess, if you will, should be that this finite time I have, I try to create infinite opportunities to help others.
Mm-hmm. How have you gone about sharing that vision for what MasRefund could be with the venture capital community? Because venture capital, I mean, they're more about profits than purpose, right? So how do you translate that into something meaningful from a venture capital perspective? Because I see they got a big check behind you. I'm assuming that's not yours,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
You're not showing off your big check kind of money, but like, how do you share that vision with venture capitalists and get them on board to hand you big checks?
Yeah. So, kind of the common attribute that venture capital philosophy is finding a niche that's small enough to a startup can make penetration, but it's deep enough so that there's tremendous opportunities for growth. So, for example, the total tax preparation industry is valued at $14.8 billion.
Hmm.
And we're focusing on the Hispanic carve out, which has a current valuation of about $3.5 billion. And then so as we started with the single filers and then added married filing jointly. And then so that gave us a SOM, a service obtainable market of about 800 million. And then we added Mas Comfort. And so that created a bigger push in our blended revenue model. Then the 4686 is going to help. And then the next thing, as we start stacking up, we can show them that, there's plenty of room to grow just in the Hispanic community. But here's the cool thing. The state of Tennessee came to me and said, when are you going to make this app available in Turkish? And I didn't realize that Tennessee had a huge Turkish population, for one. Two, it also shed light on the fact that with AI, I could quickly move this app into other languages where people need support, something that they can trust, something that's in their language, and they understand that they don't have to worry about, is the answer right? Which is kind of the current model, the current products out there with TurboTax. You use it, you get an answer, but you don't know if it's the right answer. With us, since we do all that heavy lifting, we're giving you that this is the optimal answer for your tax scenario. And so VCs would love to get that opportunity where, wow, the app is available in English also. So really anyone can use this app. And so we can quickly and strategically go after that entire $14.8 billion market.
That sounds very promising. Are you open to credit union investment in the company?
Absolutely. Bringing a credit union on board and giving them a voice in terms of what is it that their community needs in terms of future product features would be huge. So getting them in as an investor would really fast track that process of here was the experience in 2025. This is what we need. We've given you the funds. And so now go build it and they will come type of a thing. But in this case, they're already here. Let's just build it faster.
Right. Right. No, that's great. What advice, another group that watches this is, entrepreneurs or wannabe entrepreneurs in some cases who have ideas. What advice would you give them about taking on? I mean, this is a huge, very elaborate and complex task that you're a part of, and are making easy for consumers. What advice would you give to encourage other entrepreneurs who have big ideas?
Start, how there's an old adage that says, how do you eat an elephant? one bite at a time, right? And so if you found that incredibly large marketplace, find a niche and then build fast and get feedback from the consumers that are willing to be your beta testers. Because I had my own hypothesis and it was quickly disproven when I took it as an MVP. And then what do they want next? What do they want next? Like in my case, the product called Mas Comfort, which is the IRS audit protection, was much further down in my product roadmap. And when they started saying that, hey, look, we would feel a lot more comfortable using the app if we knew you were going to support us, I had to move it up very quickly. And so make sure that you don't get too set on this is the only way.
Right.
Because I think this is the only way. So be open to that.
Right.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, no, I think that's perfect. I think sometimes people get, I've had conversations with folks who are in early stage startups and they're very convinced that they are the first ones to ever have that thought. And you're like, there's 10 guys in front of you that are thinking the exact same way. Right. So I think finding your niche and being open to the feedback of the marketplace makes a lot of sense. Simon, if a credit union or someone is interested in finding out more about MasRefund, about partnering with you, how do they get in touch with you?
The easiest way is to go to www.masrefund.com and you can fill out a form there. Or my email address is super easy. It's simon@masrefund.com. And then the third way is to contact Kris Kovacs, and he certainly has my point of contact information.
Absolutely.
So he'll connect us as well.
Absolutely. Happy to do that. Mas connections. That's what we'll do now. We want Mas connections.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, this concept of Mas and then followed by, the Spanglish, right?
Yeah.
Gives us so much depth of other products that we can launch once they come into our ecosystem and we build that trust. And then, credit unions can also benefit from that because they already have a certain level of trust built in.
That's right.
And then when their customers come in and say, I need to get my taxes done, where do I go? What do I do? They're like, look at our poster, MasRefund. Just download the app for free.
Yep. Right there. Great job, man. Very excited for you. Thank you very much for joining us today. I expect you're going to have a bunch of credit unions reaching out to you.
Awesome. Yes, absolutely. I'm here 24/7. Thank you so much for having me and being able to share our message and our mission.
Anytime, Simon. Anytime. Good luck.
Thank you. Take care.
This podcast is sponsored by Constellation. We're empowering community financial institutions with innovative digital solutions, powered by Fintech, driven by your roadmap. Join us as we navigate the future of digital banking together. For more information on how we can be your partner for digital transformation, visit www.constellation.coop.
It was wonderful hearing about Simon's service that will allow credit unions to reach out to this growing consumer group. Thank you for watching this episode. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe on your platform of choice. Be sure to check out our LinkedIn page where we have some additional content. And thank you for watching today. We will see you next time.